So yeah, if you have produce, there's a really great brochure that talks about how to safely pick the produce, process, clean it, wash it, all that good stuff. So make sure you grab that on the way out. And then in your packet, you have information on the Homemade Food Freedom Act, and it has everything that Jamie talked about. There's also information over there in addition to that. So if you have any questions, but basically, last year it was baked goods. This opens it up to cooked grains. So if you've got like a famous macaroni and cheese, you could sell that at the farmer's market if you follow the rules in the act. Candies, popcorn, like you said, salsas. They do have to follow like the canning book, and that information is on there. If it's a recipe that is not in one of those books, then of course we don't know the pH of that. We don't know if the acidity, if it's safe. So you'd have to either follow a recipe that has been proven safe, or talk to these guys and see if you can get it tested. So lots of possibilities. If you have any questions about that, just stick around and we can try to get some answers for you. All right. Now, the act itself requires that if you're going to sell something that is time temperature sensitive, so needs refrigeration, you have to take the food handler's course. Our market is requiring that everybody take the food handler's course, whether it's time temperature sensitive or not. So if your product falls under the Homemade Food Freedom Act, you do need to take that course. That is extra safety for you, for our customers, and it kind of weeds out the people that don't want to learn food safety before they sell food to others. So I know if I was eating food that somebody else made, I'd want to know that they understand about hand washing and not having flour on the floor and things like that. So yeah, that is a course. The information is in there. It's online. It's a ServSafe food handlers. It's not the big ServSafe that management and restaurant people have to take. It is a 2 to 3 hour course, depending on how quick you are. It costs $15. The certification is good for 3 years, so $5 a year. And so, as part of your application, when you turn that in, you have to have a copy of that as part of your application, or the application is not complete. So, any questions about that? Stop by at the end. All right, moving on. Anyone want to sell meat this year? No? All right. Anyone want to sell eggs who has not sold eggs with us before? No? All right. Dairy? Okay, then we don't have to talk about any of that stuff. Next is sales tax. You have information in your packets about sales tax. So basically, it's easier to talk about who doesn't need to pay sales tax than who does. You do not have to pay sales tax if you grow the food and it is meant to be eaten. You don't do anything with it. You just bring it here to the market. So you grow zucchini, you bring it here to the market. You have bees, they make honey, you take that honey, put it in a jar, you bring it here to the market. You don't do anything to it. Now if you take the produce and you make a nice pretty salad with it, put it in a container, you've processed it, you have to pay sales tax. If you make creamed honey or beeswax melts, you've processed it, you have to pay sales tax. So anything that's not that, pretty much you have to pay sales tax. Our MOU with the city to be able to use this building requires that we have your sales tax permit on file. The state wants their money, and I know they're starting to really get insistent and start showing up at events, and so farmers markets, just a matter of time. So the sales tax permit, there's information in there. I believe it's like $20 for 3 years. You can do it all online, and if you can do it online, that's the way to do it. 15 minutes, you'll have your stuff. You pay online, it's very convenient. So if you sell anything that's not produce or raw honey or pecans that fell in your yard and you didn't touch them, you just brought them in the shell, you'll need sales tax permit. All right, so any questions on that, or you need help trying to figure out how to get that permit, just stop by and let me know. All right, the other thing, the only time you do have to pay sales tax on produce is if you resale produce. So like I said, we don't allow that very often, but if we say to somebody, yes, you can bring in papayas and sell them at the market, and they go and they buy the papayas and bring them in, they have to pay sales tax on those papayas. So that's the only time with produce you need to do that. But if you grow it, you don't have to do it. I believe with eggs, if they're your chickens and your eggs and you just bring them in, put them in a cart, you probably shouldn't have to pay sales tax on that either. But if we need clarification, we can always get it for you. Okay, booth fees. We didn't make any changes this year, so everything's staying the same as far as the size of the booth and the price. If you're a non-seasonal vendor, it's $12 a market. The change this year is that if you are a non-seasonal vendor, you do need to pay ahead of time, a week before, whether it's online or here in person. If you no-show, you don't get your booth fee back. And unfortunately, because it is chaos on market nights, we won't be just if somebody shows up and says, I want to sell, it's not going to happen because of all of this that you guys have to learn. So yeah, that's the only change with that. If you're a seasonal vendor, then it is $240 for the year. If you attended tonight, gave up your time, listened to all of this and learned all this, then it's $200 for you. So as long as you attended the meeting tonight, that's the price whether you're paying tonight or on the 12th, okay? Let's see here. So why do you want to be a seasonal vendor? Of course, if you plan on being here every week, and we'd love it if you were, it's going to save you money. Total will be about $100. So it'll save you about $52 for the Thursday markets. And then as seasonal vendors, you get Saturdays free. So if you can do the Saturdays, that's another $48 that you're saving. You also get preference on your booth space. So you can look around and decide where you want to be, and if it works for you, great, and if not, we'll move you. And you're in the same place every week. Our non-seasonal, we kind of just put them in where we can fit them and where it works for the market. You can also keep your booth set up. So no one uses this building except in August. So you can keep your tables, your chairs. We had a vendor even keep all of their produce or their product here for the time that they were here. Except for, of course, the 2 weeks in August when we are not here. Then you'll have to pick up and then get everything back in here for the rest of the season, mid-August. We do our farm visits, so we also offer to all the seasonal vendors a free Meet the Vendor video. So if you're a produce vendor, we'll be out there taking pictures, and you'll definitely get one. And if you're not a produce vendor and you want us to come and take pictures of you making your baked goods or getting eggs from your chickens, just let us know. We'll come out and we'll take pictures, and then we'll make a video for you. And that is on social media, and you can download it and use it for yourselves. And then your products will be promoted weekly. We have strong social media presence. Social media is the way it is. So your name will be on everything. When we tell people what's coming up that week, we'll have your name on that. We'll tag you if you've got Facebook or Instagram pages. So definitely that'll grow your crowd, your following. So moving on to the farm visits. Once a year for the produce, to verify producer only, we come out and do the farm visits. Take about an hour. Get some information on how long you've been farming, what stuff you farm, fertilizers do you use, herbicides, pesticides, what's your water source, all that good stuff. And it really helps the customers to get to know you, and customers get really loyal and they'll come back to the same vendors all the time. So it's good for you too. The only other time we'll do a farm visit is if there is some suspicion that there's resale. Then we'll come out and verify whether that's true or not. As far as the baked goods, we just don't have the manpower to go visit everybody's home this season anyway for our baked good Food Freedom Act people. But if there is a suspicion that you're not making your own products, they're being made someplace else and you're just selling them, we will come out and do a visit. And of course, if there's a foodborne illness issue, we will come out, and I'm sure the health department will come out too. So, for at least for this season, that's the only time that we'll do a home visit. Unless you're a seasonal vendor and want us to, then we'll do that before the season starts. All right. We're hoping to do the farm visits on the 21st, the 22nd, the 28th, or the 29th. So before you leave, if you can get with Rose, and if we're able to kind of get everybody's schedule tonight, that'd be great. And if not, we'll get a hold of you later to get that done. Any question on the farm visits?